You know, if you like study some history, you'll learn that and you only have to study, this may be common knowledge to you, and it shouldn't be surprising if you didn't know, but like back in the day, just 100 years ago even, you know, they would have, for certain properties, they would put in the deed that whoever they're selling the property to, if there's ever resell it again, that they couldn't sell it to a Negro, couldn't sell it to nobody black. And if they did, it would be considered null and void. That was actually on my grandparent, the house that my grandparents owned, that was actually in the deed. It was actually in the deed in my grandparents' home. They wouldn't allow, so, and one of the greatest wealth building tools is what? Real estate. You know, if you own a lot of land, you own property, you do pretty good. And we wasn't even allowed to participate in it. So when we see the economic numbers that reflect how black people lead number one in poverty, one of the biggest contributors to that is them having, a century of a head start in investing in an asset class such as real estate. So we weren't able to own land to, rent out, for the land to appreciate in value, to farm our own food with. These are things that we were banned from doing. Something else we were banned from doing that's even more lucrative than the real estate market is the stock market. We were actually banned from investing in the stock market. And that is an even bigger reason, because what is the stock market? It's one thing to not be able to own land or property. All land and property aren't necessarily what you would call performing assets. What is a performing asset? What is an asset? An asset is what? Something that appreciates with value and bring it in one way or another, whether it's by cash flow or just by capital appreciation. What is capital appreciation? You bought your house for $100,000 10 years ago. Today it's worth $130,000. It appreciated by $30,000. It appreciated by 30%. That's capital appreciation. And then you may have to pay a capital gains tax when you sell it. Well, actually, no, with this president, you got to pay a capital gains tax whether you sell it or not, even on unrealized gains. But that's another story. Okay? A performing asset would be as if you owned a home and you actually rented it out, and you was rented out for $1,000. You're getting $1,000 a month. That would be a performing asset, right? And it could also appreciate as well. So the real estate market, it's all can be capital appreciation, and then it's up to you. You would have to make it a performing asset. You would have to go out and rent it out to a business or a tenant or something like that to make it a performing asset. Stocks, businesses are all performing assets. Stocks aren't necessarily performing assets. Yes or no, that gets a little muddy, but that's another conversation to get to the bottom of that. We could be in the course, but it's really not that important. What's important is businesses grow. They have the opportunity, the potential to grow. Properties don't really have to, they can grow in value, but like a property 10x in value in 5 years or 10 years is not, I don't think that's ever happened. It probably happened, and if it is, it's very unique. As opposed to a business, you could boom in sales. You could 10x your sales in 2 years and then 10x that again. You understand what I'm saying? The potential is far greater. And we were banned from being able to even invest in such a thing. So now, today, we have the opportunity to invest in these things. All of us. Black, white, whatever. Nobody's banned from it. They don't give a fuck about your race. They don't give a fuck about your gender. They don't give a fuck about your credit score. They don't give a fuck about your criminal history. None of that. As long as you can open up a bank account, you can open up a brokerage account. And then it's just a matter of getting the money. You just got to put your own bread up. Or you can put the bank's bread up. It's much more risky. It's the route I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but it's doable. But that's another conversation when we're going to talk about building credit. We ain't talking about credit today. But I do have the credit course. So I consider it like, I don't know, I'm not in the position, I'm not qualified to say it's offensive to me. But I just look around like, how the fuck can we just sit around and twiddle our thumbs? Like the opportunity isn't right there to finally be able to participate in something that can grow us real wealth, where we don't have to trade our time, where we're not selling our time for cheap. The only way we visualize, the only way we conceive making money is selling our time, being on somebody's salary or getting paid by the hour, and saving that. Saving a depreciating currency. I don't even want to call the dollar an asset. And it's designed to depreciate. It's designed to have inflation. Because if it's not depreciating, then the economy something's wrong. When the dollar gained in value, the dollar gained in value during the Great Depression. The dollar gained in value in the 1987 flash crash. The dollar gained in value in the dot-com bubble back in 99, 2000, 2001. The dollar gained value in the real estate crash back in 2008. The dollar gained value in the corona crash when it first happened, before they started printing all the money. Those are all bad situations. But the dollar lost hella value in the 90s, the bull run. The dollar lost hella value during the roaring 20s. That's when it lost value and things were great. And it's funny, we're talking about like the dollar's going to be worth nothing. That's kind of the goal. We don't want it to lose nothing fast. And at that point, it's another problem, which is what's happening now. Because right now, I won't call it hyperinflation, but it's inflating faster than normal. It's inflating at about triple the rate now. The dollar is inflating is losing its value at triple the rate that it used to. That's a problem. How much sense does it make to trade your time, the thing that you never get an hour back? When you give your time away, you never get that hour back. You give $1 away, you can get the dollar back, and with interest. And we want to twiddle our thumbs and drag our feet to jump out the opportunity to invest in these things. We don't want to take the time out to learn these things, to grow some real wealth. But then when something happens, we get to complaining, right? We get to begging the government to step in. We get to begging the police. We get to begging the very government that put us in this position to save us. Who begs their enemy for salvation? Nobody but us. Begging your enemy for salvation when the government fucked up and let the opportunities be there for all of us. They fucked up. And they like, yo, they so slow they ain't even gonna take advantage. And then it'll be somebody who may have the game, and we only want it for free. And then even when it's given for free, there's plenty of game out here. There's plenty of game I get for free. You can learn a lot just on my Instagram, let alone my YouTube channel. Just my 60-second bits. You watch 15 of them bitches, and you could get on. So just imagine, and I ain't even talking about my YouTube, which is also free. I'm not even talking about the lectures that I let be free in my actual course. And we don't want to take it to, we should be trying to master the very last detail of this shit. Okay, we was banned from getting jobs. We was banned from investing in real estate. We was banned from the stock market. But we never really been banned from working. We was brought over as slaves. We was banned from certain types of jobs. But what was the first thing they gave us was jobs. That's the first thing they let us do, was get jobs. And then they said, okay, I guess we'll let these niggas buy houses now. But they still can't fuck with that real estate shit. Not yet. Then they finally let us do that. And that's the last thing we want to invest in. And just think of the psychology. We was always taught to get the jobs first. Then real estate kind of became popular, but we still scared of stocks. And now that the shit's probably about to crash again, keep it a buck. Now everybody want to talk about stocks, but we still drag our feet. We still twiddle our thumbs. Why do we do this? Why are we wasting time, the thing we don't get back? The stock market is a way for the common person to invest in multi-billion-dollar companies where you don't. These are things that you. Yeah, let me tell you something. To be able to invest in a lot of things, you're supposed to be what's called an accredited investor, where they have to qualify, where they have to say you have to be worth X amount of money and or make an X amount of money. But the stock market is a place you can go to where you don't have to be worth an X amount of money or make an X amount of money. Just have whatever money you want to invest. You don't have to be a millionaire. You don't have to make $250,000 a year like a lot of these other investment opportunities are. For example, if Elon Musk was to buy Twitter and take it private, at that point, only certain type of investors were they allowed to invest in it. They fucked up and let companies be available to the public to invest in where anybody can get on. Why would we not master that? And we want to put all of our time and energy to study a subject to get us a job that at the best we could do is charge a premium on our time, but it's still our time. We don't own our time. We only work to sell our time at a higher value. Yo, we need to work to own your fucking time. Own your time. That's the only way you're really going to feel rich. You could be getting paid $1 million an hour. But if you got to work 10-hour days, which you likely will have to do if they're willing to pay you that much, you don't really get a chance to enjoy it like that. You don't really get a chance to enjoy it like that. Like I say, you study the history. They kept us from certain jobs. They kept us from investing in real estate. They kept us from investing in the stock market. And eventually they started to let us in certain jobs and positions. Then eventually all right, well, I guess we'll let you niggas buy property. And the stock market was the last thing they wanted to let us do. Why? When we literally built Wall Street. We literally built Wall Street. Like literally. I'm not saying that figuratively. We literally built the Wall Street, our ancestors. And we want to drag our feet to learn these things. And when they fucked up and let the whole public be able to have access to invest in multi-billion-dollar companies and growing million-dollar companies. And it's just a matter of knowing how to analyze a business. And I'm telling you, analyzing a business is not really as intimidating as you may think. Think whatever thing, especially for those of you who are, grown and y'all done already went through college, y'all probably spent years and years to learn whatever field you're in. And I'm telling you, as proficient as you are in your field, you can be as proficient in that and learning how to analyze a business by just dedicating 6 to 10 hours total in studying a stock market course. And I'm talking about just being detailed. If we could just learn how the trends in the free cash flow, that part could be learned in less than an hour. You pay a couple hundred, you spent tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars and years of your time to be proficient in whatever field you're proficient in. And I know that pays the bills, that gets you your cash flow. Good. But you're not willing to invest a fraction of that, both time and money-wise, to learn something where your potential is unlimited. Your potential is limited, and whatever work you do, your potential is limited. That's a fact. Whatever you do, just Google the highest paying salary for whatever you do, and that's your ceiling. There is no ceiling when investing in stocks. Why did they make that the last thing to let us invest in? Come on, man. But anyway, I gotta go ahead and make this run. Check you out in a minute, man. Freedom over failure.